thank you very much for joining us again in a podcast at Comida Tragos y Compañía. This company was started because of COVID, and then after that, we jumped creating value and important knowledge for the community about how we can run business for the Latino community mostly, but now I got a bunch of people saying, like, Jorge, you got to do it in English, you speak both languages, come on. And so I said, okay, you know what, we'll do it in English. We're going to start with that. But today we have a very good guest, a person that I met a couple of weeks ago. We started doing business. We talk about business. We did a couple of interesting things. We went for lunch. And then I got the opportunity to meet William.
Hey, what's up?
We call him Coach, but it's William Lindsay is with us today. Welcome.
Hey,
how are you?
Good to be here, Jorge. Pleasure to meet you as well.
Nice. I will. This is actually focus. This podcast will focus on business and strategies. I believe that he can share a lot of knowledge for us. Will be interesting to figure out what's going on. But talk to us a little bit about who's William. What's going on with you?
Hey, man. Well, first, thanks for having me in your podcast. It's we met not too long ago over email, and then we met face to face, and we have a lot in common. So I know you do what you do as a consultant as well. So I think that's congratulations for what you do. You've been doing it for so many years. So we learn a lot from each other. That's very important. For me, no problem at all, man. For me, I've been doing this for almost 10 years now as a small business consultant, small business coach. And, right now, as of today, I wear a few different hats. So I own my own company called 1917. It's a business coaching, business consulting company. And I also am the director of grants and programs for the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, not too far from here, right here in D.C. And what we do there is we provide small business advancement programs for the Latino community here in D.C., primarily in D.C., Greater Washington area. And part of my role there is also being a center director for the D.C. Small Business Development Center, which is at the SBDC at Howard University. Okay. So that's another hat that I wear there. So it's really being a center director. So we do a lot of work with the SBDC and doing a lot of work with the small business community across the board. So 10 years doing my own business, doing what I do, doing what I love, because it's really about just working with people and working with businesses and getting into what's really happening in their business and then moving them from point A to point B and making sure they go from point B to point C in a very specific and intentional, strategic way. And that to me is the fun part. I have fun doing it. So it's a lot of fun for me over the past 10 years. A lot of ups and downs, of course. This hasn't been perfect, but a lot of ups and downs, a lot of lessons learned. But that's what I enjoy doing.
So, how everything started?
How did I start getting into coaching?
Well, what it trigged your mentality of like getting into business, or what it was to what it trigged to make it like this is what I want to start doing?
Let's see. When I was 18, 19 years old, I quasi-started a small business in the Caribbean. I'm originally from the Caribbean and did a lot of work in different areas, obviously. When my real job, when I was at that age, coming out of my first 2 years of university, was in civil engineering land surveying. So I was interested in doing something there because that was my study, in part my study. And there was a gentleman that I did some work with. He was a land surveyor, and I studied computer science back then. And we didn't have the Google and the stuff like we have now.
Yeah, we have a bunch of books.
We got a bunch of books online now. But back in that time period, we had AutoCAD, and we had different systems that we can convert data points into a map. And that's what I love to do. Okay. A lot of back then it wasn't. I think it just started being called geospatial sciences, but we called it AutoCAD.
AutoCAD, yeah.
And CAD back then. and I was using a Dutch-based firm, a Dutch-based software that converts some of that data into maps and designs, and you find ways to do it. So I was like, oh, I'm really good at this, and I was like, hey, well, if you collect the data, we can do the mapping together, and this is what and I started doing that. But then he left the island, and I was just like, all right, so. That was really one of my first experiences in getting into business, and at that age, it was an interesting lesson. And then from there, I decided to work. I decided to go back. I did go to school, went back to school, in and out of school, and when I looked at people around me, like my family, my elder cousins, they had businesses. My grandfather, he was a fisherman, he was a farmer. And it was his business. I never looked at it as a business, but I saw his experience in doing what he wanted to do and taking care of the larger family. And that just resonated with me. My father, he was in the oil industry all his life, but when he started to get out of the oil industry, he and I talked about what business he wanted to start doing. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was nice. Okay. So there were many, many different influences in my family, my close family, that made me realize that there is an entrepreneurial spirit. There's a way to do this. And after, from there, I decided to go back to school and get my degrees and all that, learn some stuff, and then go to work. And work is, I think, a great place where people pay you to learn. Yeah. They pay you to learn. So I was like, all right, this makes sense. And learn a lot. And then after 25 years of working, I was like, hey, time for me to start my company. So that's when I started the company. I didn't know it was going to be coaching.
That's when you become the coach.
That's when I became coach. Exactly. Yeah. That's another story. How we got that name.
Yeah, but we gotta put it together there.
I know. We gotta. Yeah.
So say it right now. We can say it. I know.
So actually, how I got the name Coach, it wasn't self-imposed. It was from Carolina Gomez, one of our good friends, and fellow food biz mentor owner. That years ago when I first met, we met at the chamber, at the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We were at a meeting and we just met. We were talking to each other, and I think she asked me, "Hey, what do you do?" I said, "I'm a business coach," and she was like, "Well, I'm gonna call you Coach." I was like, "All right, that's fine." But yeah, it was a great tagline, I would say. But she's always called me Coach, and every time she introduces me, she always says, "That's Coach," and I'm like, "Oh, good." Oh, so okay, I'll take it.
That's good. I mean, it's funny because I got a bunch of coaches. I got a bunch of coaches. Before I was just like soccer coach, baseball coach, basketball coach, but then you get to a realization that you meet a coach. It's not only just to sports. It's to guide you not only in business but also in spiritual life, in personal development, in family development, in marriage, and. It's funny. So I was like, whenever she told me, no, you got to meet Coach. And I was like, okay, Coach, what did he practice? I'm like, what sport? And then I was laughing. She's like, no, he's a business coach. I was like, oh my, yeah, but you say coach. I didn't know that he was a business coach. And I don't know he was doing this and that. But anyway, it was fun. It was very nice and pleasure to meet you. One of the things that I always ask in these episodes is like, how you start basing your strategies, or what are the strategies that you start working that it works with you, with people? One of those experiences will be nice to share with everybody.
So one of the common things that when I talk to clients, whether it's SBDC clients, Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber clients, or my own clients, is I always start with like, tell me about your business. Why are you in business? So they give me the story, right? A lot of it's always emotional. Right? And we need to have that part of it. We need to understand what's connecting them to the business. And then from there, I started asking about their goals. It's like, okay, where do you want to be? What's your long-term goal? I mean, you don't want to be a chef for the rest of your life. You may want to own 10 restaurants and just, own the restaurants and not be the chef type of thing. So some of the strategies really come from where the business owner would like to go, right? And that's just the operational strategy. So you talk about financial analysis, financial projections, pricing, sales, marketing, planning, exit strategy. Like, how are you going to leave your business, quote unquote. So that's the operational part. That's the business planning, the technical stuff. And then there's the mindset piece, like you mentioned, the life coaching piece, which is a very small part of what I do. but it's a big part of the business for the owner because, it's really where your head is. It's how you think about yourself. It's how you think about your future. What's the story you're telling to yourself? What words do we use to push us forward? I mean, how realistic are we with ourselves, right? So that's a big part of it. And how do we overcome obstacles? Every day, we have to overcome an obstacle. We wake up in the morning, we say our prayers and we do our thing. That's a huge obstacle. It's like, what's the next step? It's like, all right, now
go to bed, get the coffee,
exactly,
a good coffee.
Exactly,
I know.
Exactly. So we got to start doing those next steps. And sometimes, depending what's happening in your life, you just have to keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward no matter what. Today's a new day, right? We're here in the morning. Today's a new day. How are we going to end our day? Are we going to hit our goals? What are our goals, and how are we going to start the day tomorrow? It's a brand new day. So that's part of that coaching process. It's okay. So are those daily goals connected to your 1 year goal or your quarterly goal, your monthly goal, your yearly goal, your 10-year plan goal, right? So, so the strategies come out of that conversation. So it's really having an honest conversation with the individual. And then the first conversation is always good because it always starts off at a high general level. But as you go deeper and deeper, it starts to become, more with much more clarity for both of us, the coach and the client. And then we can really push and move forward and reminding each other like, hey, remember when you said you wanted to do this? Okay, this isn't helping that. You got to get back on track. Let's get this done. So that's where the strategies come from.
So I've been doing this for a couple of years. What happened when you get into the sentimental situation about the business? What do you use or what do you do? When they get into like, oh my God, it's my business, and
probably some of the best advice I would say, and it's hard. It's for the individual because you're married to it. That's your baby. That's your life. You got to find a way to separate it, right? It's tough. It's not easy because I'm a business owner myself, and sometimes you have to separate. You have to separate. You have to disconnect in some way. How do you do that? Look at it from different perspectives, right? Maybe have the conversation of, well, here's one way I would say to do it. If someone, let's say someone has a business. Well, I did this to my clients actually. I said, well, they were very connected to their business. And I said, hey, what if someone walked through the door and had a check for $10 million to sell your business? And I said, what would you do?
Yeah.
And they started thinking about it. I said, $10 million. I said, hey, that's interesting. I said, exactly. If you were so connected to it, your answer should have been no. So that means that there's a possibility that we can work with to look at your business differently. And that's kind of where it starts. It's how do you look at it differently, and how do you shift from, I'm not going to do anything for my business. It's going to be mine. It's mine. It's mine. Okay, but someone walks in and gives you $100 million check. Are you going to sell it? Oh yeah. Then it's really, then where's the emotion? Where's the connection? It's there, but we can start there, right? Because sometimes you have to make a decision in your business that's not connected to your emotion. It's connected to reality. You may have to fire someone, right? That's connected to you emotionally. That could be your spouse. It could be your best friend. It could be your business partner. It's emotion there, right?
Yeah.
You may have to fire that person because they made a horrible decision, or you may have to hire someone that's very close to you to bring them into your business. That's an emotional connection to your company. So it always boils down to the reality of it, and it's sometimes it could be hard. Right, it is. I would highlight that it could be difficult, but we have to find a way to break through that. And everyone's different. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's really different. So you have to find different ways to navigate that perspective that people need to say, okay, how do we separate the two, but still be connected? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's good. So how hard it become to you, or like how hard was it for you to start doing those things?
How hard it was?
Well, at the beginning.
It was hard. It was hard. It was extremely hard. Because
make it stronger.
yeah. Oh goodness gracious.
Too stronger.
You can never be too strong.
No, I know.
But it was hard. It was hard because in my first couple of years, you kind of set in your ways, right? And then I was fortunate enough to have a lot of friends who did it before me. Mm-hmm. They were coaches before me, mm-hmm. and they said, "Hey, Eric, this is how you should think of it," and they would coach me. And I hired a coach, and I work with coaches, and you listen and learn from the other individuals who've done it better than I can ever do it before. Mm-hmm. And I still have a coach today. I still work with a coach today, and he and I we talk. He's from Brazil, really cool guy, and he and I talk weekly. On Wednesdays, and we really get into some deep stuff. We get into really personal business and personal stuff that, at this point, after doing this for 10 years, there's certain things that you want to fine tune, right? So I look for those fine tuning elements, like what can I do more, and what can I do more but better? Like, how do I make a phone call but make it better, right? You fine tune those things. How do I set goals but make it much more efficient? So, when I started this 10 years ago, I was nowhere near that. It was just like, I got to sit and write, really? I got to do this. But was it difficult? Yeah, in the beginning, because you challenge your, how do I say this? You challenge your belief system, right? Because you believe this thing because you've been trained, in your previous life in a certain way. And then all of a sudden you go into this field, your belief system is just like turned upside down. And that takes a little bit of shaking. So it's like, okay. But now the good thing is personally, I was open to that. It was like, you know what? I have a long-term goal. I have a 10-year plan. Back then I had a 10-year plan. And I'm like, for me to get to this 10-year plan, I have to change now. And I have to flip everything over. I have to change everything. Not 100%, but
yeah, but step by step.
It's a step-by-step process. And I think the biggest thing, the biggest lesson I would say I take out of that is to have the right people with you. Not around you.
A really good thing.
With you. With you. Like when you and I met, you and I sat down at La Cosecha. I'll never forget, we sat down. And I think we were supposed to have a 30-minute meeting. I think we were there for like 2 hours. Yeah. Because you and I talked about your belief system, my belief system, and we were like, oh my goodness, this is real. Yeah, we're going to push each other. Yeah. I was just like, that's awesome. You love that. So you want to have the right people with you that's going to push you, that, they will challenge you. They're not going to knock you down, but they will challenge you no matter what the situation.
Yeah, to lift you up.
Yeah, to lift you up. And when you need lifting, and they will give you a reality check when you're like, listen, hey, that makes no sense, man.
I got a couple of those. I work with you. I work with a coach. It's a female. It's an American girl. Every 15 days we sit down and then we go through those processes of like, she explained me, it's like, you're like a priest. And then it's like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, coaches are like priests. It's just kind of like assimilating the same situation. She's like, you guys receive information that you cannot share.
Exactly.
You got to keep it with you, but you got to analyze it and you'd be able to work it out and then be able to just put it outside and convert it and just, but who you talk to be able to switch it, and you get another coach. And then you put the problems and issues to somebody else and then they give you the answer later. But it's fun. It's just like, it's actually good that we're in the same kind of like channel of work and then helping so many people. How's been your experience at the chamber?
It's been great. It's been great. At the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I've been there as a member since I started my business in 2013, 2014. And I love it. I love the staff there. I love their mission. I love what the chamber is trying to accomplish from the very beginning. And I have never left the chamber. I've always been with them as a member. And now as an SBDC Center Director at the Chamber as the Director of Grants and Programs. It's a challenge. Right now we have a staff of 5 to 6 individuals. And as Nicole, who's the president, Nicole Quiroga, who's the president of the Chamber, the mighty team, she calls us. And because we do so many, we just had our business expo last week over at the at the convention center. Yeah. Over 1,000 attendees, 150 exhibitors. We plan for that 6 months in advance. The team of David Diaz, Lise, Veronica, Alma, of course, led by the president, Nicole. I mean, it's an amazing team. And we just, Idema, who's our membership coordinator now. Then we have the interns who are there, all the sponsors and exhibitors, all the business community. But it's really about the community that we want to help, the business community and in the Latino community here in DC. So we do so much. Some days we're working long hours, and it's because it's worth it. The mission is worth it. So, it's a great organization, great atmosphere. And if you're not a member, join.
Okay. Well, we will share all those links.
Yeah. Definitely.
Carolina has been pushing me to be a member, and then I was like, okay, fine, we have to be a member.
but even if you're not a member, just come to our events.
Yeah. I was at the gala. I was at the event last week. Met a bunch of people. Like I was like shaking hands, like hey, hi. Like we share a bunch of people that we've been in business in DC, and DC, the world, Latino world is a little small. And then we did a couple of different things. We approached to Nicole, and then we say hi, and then we say hi to you, and then all that.
Yeah,
but
man.
it's fun. I believe that one of the things that I love from the chamber is just I saw how the chamber has been growing since 15, 20 years. And then I remember that we were doing some stuff with the chamber on 2008, couple of different events. And then it went like the development is being completely different. Now that we step out from what happened 2 years ago, it was just like completely different. You had so many people at the chamber, and then just so many different businesses that you see that they started like 2 years ago. Now they're part of the chamber growing over there. And it's actually really cool. One of the things that I always say is when you're doing business, you have so many different ways of like doing it. You know what I mean? Like follow up with really good teams. I'm a team builder, like we talked the last time. I believe if we have a really structured team, we develop really good companies because you follow the pivot from like how's the owner thinking, we put the mission, vision, and just move the team forward. And then one of the things that I look on so many companies is like they don't develop the teams on hiring first. What do you think about that?
No, this is your expertise area. I love it. We had a long conversation about building that customer service base as an end result, but you certainly have to go through that hiring process and certainly have to figure out the mission of the company, the mission of the organization. What are the culture standards? And when I say culture, I don't mean like in the traditional sense. It's the culture of the company itself. It's very basic culture. What does a lot of and you've seen this before. We talked about this. For example, a lot of statements that companies make. It's like these are our I use the word culture statements. I don't know what the old word used to be, but it was
statements.
Yeah,
think of it as statements or rules.
There you go. Yeah,
the rules, because more rules and statements.
Exactly.
Now it's completely changing. Like 10 years ago, completely changed to cultural statements.
So some of those statements were like hard work. Okay. We respect each other's individuality. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Because what does hard work mean? Hard work can mean 1 hour per day.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, be specific. Define what it means for your company and for you as an individual. Because it's like a family. It's like you have your good uncle, your crazy aunt, your funny brother, but they're all part of your family.
Yeah.
But then each of those characteristics have to be well defined. You can't just say, we show up to work on time. Well, I don't know what on time means. Is it 5 minutes before the meeting starts? That's on time?
That's on
like
time.
in a military experience?
I know.
5 minutes early? If you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
Right? So define what those culture statements mean for your company. Once you have that defined as an owner, as an individual, then that becomes part of your company culture, your mission, your vision for your team. Once you understand that, then you can hire people. Because you're going to hire people that don't fit your culture, you're going to hurt your business, right? Your business is going to, then you're dealing with firing people and hiring over people. No. Once you have that down, once you understand but you're in the food industry, so imagine I go to your restaurant and I see someone at the front, the hostess at the front, and they have a bad attitude. As a coach, I'm like, the owner has a bad attitude. So I need to find the owner. I say, hey, something's wrong. It's not your employee's fault.
No.
The owner sets the pace, right? They set the attitude. So that's what we mean by culture statement.
Yeah.
It's like the owner of any organization. They set the pace. So if I'm having a bad day and I have 10 employees, they're gonna have a bad day. Right? Because they're like, ooh, he's in a bad mood. What's going on? So it trickles down into that because you want to have a good, solid team. So as the owner, it's kind of like remind yourself, hey, I represent my team. My team represents me. So when I go to your restaurant, you want to. I'm experiencing the business owner.
Yes.
That's how I look at it. So and then once you start that hiring process, the old slogan, you hire slow, fire fast. So you definitely want to take your time in hiring and to take them through a maze, I would say, of getting them into your company before they get in. You want to know these individuals very well before you hire them. So take them through a very slow, deliberate process, and then let the good ones come to your company. Everyone else who doesn't want to go through it, that's okay. There's another place for them. But yeah, that would be my 2 cents into that world.
Your 10 cents. It's not a 2 cents. It's 1 cent. No, I've been going through so many companies and trying to do that. I don't believe in terminating people,
right?
Because the firing you damage. Basically, you can't fire people because now they're switching it in court in a completely different way. But we're terminating people. So I'm not the ones that they believe that we terminate people. I believe that we can truly train everybody else and find where they fit.
Right.
And then we went through so many of those, and then I believe that it's very interesting how you see all those points of view because I believe in the slow hiring, so you can perfect the team, or either a slow training, restructuring a team. So it's actually cool. It's one of the things that I believe that most people like. Actually, it's one of the most important things that you have to have on your business plan. Is how to train your team or how to value or how to hire your team. And then we're working on that. We're putting that together. We'll see we can work on that. And then I'm putting like 6-7 places right now on that. And that's actually cool. I'm like, we're working now with Washington Digital Media. We'll pass information. We're working with the company and then just trying to figure out how we will evolve and then do a couple of different nice things with them. And then jumping to another thing. I saw so many different things in the last 2, 3, 5 years. How the companies are dealing with with their mental and health issues with people. Like what companies are doing now that you're in that chamber, and then probably you have a little bit more knowledge about that. How companies are dealing with their mental programs and how they're helping employees to evolve in a better way.
No, I think since 2019, 2020, we all know what happened. Even to now, it's the wellness programs that we're seeing. Not just like, in office mental health, but it's more looked at a wellness. It's like what you eat.
So you switch from mental to wellness.
Yeah, I think it's well-being. Yeah, I think it's because I think they're adding more to it. So they're looking at we're not looking at working from 8 to 5 or 8 to 4:30. It's like, they're shifting because obviously everyone was working from home. Majority of the country was working from home, and that I thought was a great thing because it awakened people to say, wow, I don't have to drive like 10 miles for 2 hours in traffic and 10 miles in traffic, especially in our region. Exaggeration, but in our region, it's a lot of traffic. Yeah. We spend 2 hours probably a day just going back and forth to a home. And when people realize that, hey, I can actually spend time with family in my house, I could probably do more than 8 hours of work in a day because now I'm working in a 24-hour cycle, but I can choose my time. So efficiency actually improved over time. I know some organizations, as specific organizations, efficiency went up. Consulting hours actually went up. And then the clients actually increased as well because they were working with clients 8 o'clock at night, but they were having dinner with their family. So it wasn't like a shortened day, like 8 to 5, but they were like, hey, I can actually take my kid for a walk to the park for like an hour, come back, do 2 or 3 Zoom calls, and then prepare dinner and then go back. So there was an efficiency there. There was like a feeling of, hey, there's less pressure. So that had a lot to do with the wellness part of it.
Okay.
So companies are looking at those production efficiencies. Now, not all companies are doing it. Some companies are forcing their employees to go back. I mean, it's a different reality.
Do you see a change on the companies that they're doing it and they're the ones that they're not?
What do you mean by change?
Like the companies are better because they're following those wellness programs than the companies that they're not doing that?
I haven't seen the data on that just yet.
Okay.
I think from just people who are just giving out their opinion, from the employee perspective, I think they would want it. They're like, hey, we can actually be anywhere in the U.S. and do this work. But again, it depends on the type of work, depends on the type of company. If you're doing something, for the federal government and intelligence, you obviously have to be in-house, obviously in some capacity. If you're working in a restaurant, obviously you have to be there to serve clients and stuff.
So one of the things that I'm pushing on restaurants, and it's actually working pretty well, it's every 3 weeks you give a weekend off to your employee, to the waiter or the bartender.
Nice.
And then so you switch schedules with everybody so everybody can have at least every other 2 or 3 weeks you have a weekend off. And then that's one of the things that you don't see in restaurant business. You know what I mean? Because your day is like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now, changing those concepts, the restaurant actually is doing better. Personnel is doing much better, and the owner is happy because he doesn't need to be there all the time to be able to do it. But now I'm pushing the owners to be able to do 1 or 2 days of work with the people. So it's or either bartend or serve, or either cook. And then that's completely changing the mentality of the employee. So it's actually really one of the things that we're pushing over there to be able to have a better mental health in restaurants. Probably will be, is a different thing.
Another thing that I like is, to be specific, is some organizations, I don't think many companies are doing this. I'm hoping that they will, is, when you start working for a company, you have to work a year to get 2 weeks vacation and 7 days sick leave. What I'm seeing a little bit more organizations do is to give that up front. So on day 1, you have your vacation leave and your sick leave up front. So it takes away the pressure of, well, we all have families. We all have, it's called life. I mean, give me a break. I don't, and they start doing that kind of structure.
Of course.
So it takes away that pressure from the employee. And then there's work from home. There's a different, you can work 10 hours a day, have a short week, do 10 hours a day for 3 or 4 days and you have a 40-hour week, or do a 30-hour week, which is still full time. So you can do those strategies. I like what you're doing because you're shifting the days of the week, but you're also shifting responsibilities to team, because now they learn each other. They learn like, oh, wow, the washer does this. Oh, wow, that's a lot of work. So now you have an appreciation of how to help each other out. So rotating responsibilities is also a great way of team building in that sense. And that takes the pressure. It builds the team morale, I would say. And it helps each other have an understanding for each other on the business. So that's very cool at what you're doing at your restaurant. So
it's working. It's actually working with the people that we're putting it together. It's working now. They have more space of mind because it's one of the things, and they have kids. And then when you see your dad Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it's like, well, this is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, kids are happy. Moving to one question that I wanted to ask you, and then I'm asking people right now. It's like, with the advance of the technology and intelligence and artificial intelligence and all that, Meta and all the stuff that is coming, how the companies are dealing with that. We're talking with Ricardo. It's like, give us one word that it will help entrepreneurs, and he's like, ChatGPT, and I was like, for real. And then I was like, so what do you think about this? And it's like, it's moving quick. We're using it. It's working for us, but how you see the people seeing it?
So let's look at history. Right? Let's look at, and I'm going to pick on your industry, the food industry. Let's look at history. You walk into a restaurant many years ago, you get a sit down, you get a menu. Fast forward to today, you walk into a restaurant, you get a menu, and you can touch the screen and select your food. So that you don't need that particular position anymore. Now, is it all over? Is it all restaurants? No. But the reality is that's where we're heading, right? Some jobs will be obsolete, right? You look at the Ford Motor Company when they talked about building cars. They talked about hiring a lot of people to put the tires on. Then the car moves forward and you put the steering wheel on. Now we have robots that do that. You have robotic arms that do that kind of stuff. So manpower has gotten less and less. So when you talk about our artificial intelligence, it will have an impact on that industry. Which industries? Not really clear yet, I don't think, right? They talk about a lot of people going there and just asking a question and, getting their answer right away. My schools will be impacted by that. Okay, so the way we teach is going to be, the education system is going to, it has to be impacted, not today, but in some way it will be impacted because the information will always be there. The one thing I would say is when you have like forced wisdom, it's not wisdom, right? So for example, someone with GPT can say, write me a business plan for a restaurant in DC that sells Mexican food. ChatGPT will throw it out there. It will give it to you in maybe 10, 20 minutes. An approved SBA funded loan SBA business plan. This has actually happened. This happened a few weeks ago. Okay, It's actually an article about it. But here's the challenge. Here's the document. But as an individual who's supposed to do the research, as an individual, where's the wisdom? Right? You have the knowledge, but where's the wisdom? The knowledge is the plan, the document. But the wisdom is actually going to someone like Jorge, you, and saying, hey, Jorge, can you help me with hiring waiters and waitresses for my restaurant? How do you do that? Then you get the wisdom, you write in your business plan. So that's the piece that I look at. It's great to have a technology. It's wonderful. But we're human beings and we learn from each other, not necessarily from the machine.
Yeah.
Because now you can share with me your wisdom from, hey, Eric, if you want to open a restaurant, be careful with this. You got to have this. You have to have this certification. You have to look at your pricing per plate, right? You have to look at your sourcing. Where are you going to get your meats from? Let's go talk to the farmer. ChatGPT or AI doesn't do that for you. It can't.
Not yet.
I don't think it can right now. It can't. But
so we were playing with ChatGPT, and then we had a group of management that were like 190 people, and we get together, and then we did a Zoom, and then created a concept from ChatGPT, and then actually you give them regions, you give them sections, give you all the wines, give you all the beers, and then you're looking at it and it's like, wow, no, it gives you everything. And then you said, give me the providers for meats, pork, poultry, fish, and then in the area of it now actually gives you the information, but also gives you wrong information because some of those companies are closed. And then build me the menu, and they give you the menu and give you the recipes and how to do it and preparation. And then you say, and give me the hazard plan, and it gives you the hazard plan for the same kitchen of like. So we are in a moment where like. And you say we can create everything, but the wisdom is not there.
Right.
The heart and the mind of the person is not already in ChatGPT.
Yeah. And remember what you asked me? What was the first question you asked me? Well, how do I work with business owners who are emotionally tied? Now, don't get me wrong. Artificial intelligence, we need it. I think it's a great technology, but we have to work with it, right? We have to work with it because, like you said, you have all those plans. Wine list, the hazard plan, the business plan. That's great. We can get that. Okay, now what I would tell people, I tell this to clients, okay, now go truth test it, read it, edit it, check it, talk to other business owners to verify what's there. Because like you said, the system could give you an error, and that's okay as long as we don't 100% rely on that system.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think that we need to rely.
No.
I don't think that we can rely on the system yet. We were talking actually with Edgar a little bit ago. I'm like, how to edit, no, like the audio. And then I was trying an app yesterday, and then actually completely giving me everything wrong. Because it doesn't doesn't know Spanish yet, but it actually, depending on the accent, cut off the words.
Wow.
So it's a bunch of things coming up, but then I always ask, it's like, like what is your point of view? One of the essential questions is marketing. How valuable is for people to market their own business?
If you want to be in business, you have to market. If you don't want to be in business, then don't market. Does that answer your question?
Don't. That's actually really good.
Don't.
It's simple.
It's very simple. It's very simple.
A certain percentage that you think, I believe that is a 12 to 15% on marketing your company. What do you think that is the best percentage? Depending on the market, but like average will be like.
Well, this is my mentality on marketing. Market every day, every time you can. So if I'm walking to a building or I go grocery shopping, I'm marketing my company in some way. I have a T-shirt on, I have a hat on, I have something. It's like I just talk to people. Hey, how's your day going? Really, that bad? And I want them to ask me, what do you do? It's like, there's marketing. Yes. So in a way, it depends how we look at marketing. If we look at marketing as having a website and things like that, then that's what we would call it. But I believe when we market, you are your brand in a lot of ways. You're the business owner, right? You're starting something. You should be talking to everyone about it. If you're on the bus, sit next to someone and say, hey, talk to them. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, well, what do you do? That's marketing.
Here's my card.
Here's my card. Oh, can I get your card? Yeah. Can I get
Send
your
me your
card?
text. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it was the other day I was in DC and I had to go from I think the chamber office to Howard University, right? They had a meeting at the SBDC. And I was like, I'm not going to drive. I'm just going to catch an Uber, 10, 12 minutes. Got in the Uber. I was like, hey, how's your day going? Oh, it's going great. So how long you been driving for Uber? We just had a conversation. Guess what? Now that driver found out he has 2 other businesses. Now guess what we're doing? We're bringing him into the SBDC system.
Nice.
Because that's marketing, right? How do we help each other out? So find every opportunity to talk about what you do and what you love because it's who you are, we had a few clients, Jorge, with working with Carolina, working with the SBDC, that they're in the food industry. So some of them make cookies. So they were like, well, same question. Eric, how do you think I should market? And I said, well, what do you have in your purse right now? Oh, well, I said, go through your purse. And I said, what do you think's missing from your purse? They're like, what do you mean? I said, well, take a dozen cookies that you bake, keep them in your purse, and every time you see someone, hey, this is my cookie, what do you think? Oh, these cookies are great. Okay, here's my card. Go to my website. If you like them, give me. That's marketing.
Do you work with Little Bites?
Little Bites.
Okay, she gave me a cookie on Saturday.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. And then I got the cookie when we were doing the interview.
There you go. It's those little things because, again, it's human connection, right? Look how you and I met. We met through Carolina. We met and we were like, let's talk. And we went to La Cosecha and we had good Venezuelan food.
It's good.
It's really good food. And that's how we talk. You're in the food industry. You're like, Eric, try this. I'm like, that's really good. That's your marketing. I'm like, now I remember Jorge. I'm like, yeah, Jorge advised me to I'll never forget you. So it's people, you remember those connections. So you want to be unique in that way. So that's my view on marketing.
Cool. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate it. We can be sitting down here talking for hours. How you doing with the sports?
Oh man, you can bring that up.
Of course, I was not going to miss that. It's a podcast.
Well, so far so good.
Okay.
The swimming has been great.
Okay.
I've been swimming. My times have gotten a lot better.
Okay.
Workouts have been really strong. So because I do all 4 strokes now. Actually, all 5 strokes, 5 or 6 strokes now. Because
nice.
you have your regular 4,
Yes.
and then you obviously have your streamline.
Yeah.
Then you have your dolphin kick. So
Of course.
those are 2 extra strokes. So it's been going really well. Feeling really good. I was swimming yesterday.
Okay.
Did just under a mile for my session, which is not a lot for a lot of swimmers out there.
Okay.
They're like, that's warm up.
Of course.
But for me it was good.
Yeah.
It was really good. But it's fun. I'm having fun doing it. I love it.
When is the next race? Support you there, coach.
by the let's see, we're in May right now. So I'm hoping by the end. Well, the goal is the 3rd or 4th quarter of this year. I want to enter my first official race for my age group. So
that's good.
That's where I am now. How you doing? Because I know you're.
So I'm doing great. I started it 2 weeks ago, so I'm doing the 2 trainings. So I do 5 o'clock and I do 6:15.
Nice.
I do Orange Theory 3 times a week, and I do the regular 5 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays and on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
But then I start swimming, so now I do swim laps for probably like 500, 600. So every week I try to do. So I swim in 2 days, and I put the bike in the house.
Yeah.
Running, it's okay. I just go around, run outside.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start focusing on running on June.
Nice.
So I'm going to do June, July, August. I'm going to do the Ironman in Guatemala in Tikal in November 26th. That's the goal.
Nice.
So we'll see. I used to do it before, but then I stopped, and then I was like, okay, fine, it's the time. I tried to do Cozumel, but it was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And then so we wanted to do Maryland. We didn't get the tickets. So now we got the Maryland for next year.
Nice.
And then so one of my cousins, he's like pushing me like, hey, we have to do it. We have to do it. And I was like, okay, fine, we'll do it. Okay, done. We'll do it. So, but one of the things that is like, I have to be checking my health like every 3 weeks and then do the blood test and see where I'm going, how, and then just depending on what I'm doing, the supplements.
Yes.
And then because it's 13 hours.
Yes. Yes.
And then so be like, okay, we start at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I have to be done by 2 o'clock, apparently, 3 o'clock. And then, but I'll say, yeah, no, I'm not going to be done. But one of the best things is like you walk in and it's the Grand Jaguar in Guatemala. That's the entrance. That's the final. So it's going to be good, It's just putting effort on that. So the swimming will be good. I love swimming. And then, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. Good luck.
It's going to be good. No, good luck to you too.
Yeah,
so,
man.
just to finalize, a little advice about business. Something it could be very strong, because I believe that as a coaches we have to put certain limits and create certain patterns, but something that is going to be, good for the people to listen.
Push through. Just keep pushing. It's interesting that you bring up what you're doing in the sports arena and what I'm doing. And the one thing that we learned, riding bikes or swimming, is when you get halfway through your swim routine, you feel like your brain is like, oh, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. The best feeling in the world is when you say, hey, brain, shut up. I'm going to get this done. And you push through and you get it done. It's the same thing in business. It's like, you have a business plan for a year, you're 6 months in, and you're like, oh man, I'm only halfway through. Doesn't matter. Push through. Don't ever quit. Just keep pushing through. Do whatever it takes to push through. Because when you come out at the first year of your business, you're going to look back and be like, I'm glad I pushed through. Now, you get that wisdom, you get those scars, and you're like, yeah, that feels good. I can do the next year. Now you push yourself even more. So every year for 10 years, that's what I've been doing. It's you have my ups, you have your downs.
Yeah.
You just have to keep pushing through. And the second thing is, if I can add a second thing, if you don't mind.
As many as you want.
The second thing is, when you push through, have the people with you who will push with you that are also pushing, right? That to me is a great combination. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
Yeah, surround yourself with pushers.
Yes, you have to do it. You have to do it. That's so important. So I've been fortunate enough to have, friends like you, Jorge, and the team at the SBDC. I'm going to say Carl and Charles and the team there, that all they do is push. And then we have the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber, Nicole and David and Idalis and Veronica and Idama and the interns. All we do is push. Just every day a little bit, just push. And when you're surrounded by that, it's infectious. You pick it up, and then you add to that. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, people.
Yeah, man.
So hear that. Keep pushing. It's good. William, thank you very much. Edgar, nice to have you with us here today. This was Comida Tragos & Co. And from Washington, D.C., Washington Digital Media, thank you very much. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for
this
coming.
was great. This was
Thank
wonderful.
you very much for coming.
This is cool.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I was like, I'm selecting